Hello everyone and welcome to Tech. Today we're going to finally be reviewing the HP 580-130. Okay, so finally Tech is getting around to the review of the HP Pavilion Power 580-130. And I got this on a sale on Amazon for about $605, delivered to my house with taxes and everything. Let's get into some of the specs of it first. If you're kind of wondering what it's got, what's going on, there is a power button up at the top. The front I/O includes one USB 2.0 port, one USB Type-C, an SD card reader, which is nice for those of you doing content creation, a headset port, and a DVD-R drive, which is kind of dying out on these computers. So, in the back there is a line-in mic and sound output, two USB 2.0s, two USB 3.0s, two HDMI ports for some reason, as well as one Ethernet port, and of course the RX 580, which is probably the reason most of y'all are viewing this video, has 3 display ports and one. Okay, so actually thinking about it now, I realized that the HDMI ports might have been a ploy if HP knew that the 2200 and the 2400 were coming with their integrated Vega graphics. So that's probably why the HDMI ports are in there, because I couldn't find a graphics chip in this thing. So anyway, back to the video. The internals, as we'll notice, has the HP in-house RX 580 with one fan blower style GPU. The Ryzen 1400 with some kind of weird aftermarket, looks very cheap CPU cooler. A Western Digital 1 terabyte hard drive with 7200 RPM, and my particular variant came with 32 megs of cache, but it seems to differ depending on which run of computer you get. It came with 8 gigs of 2400 megahertz Samsung memory as two 4 gigabyte sticks. It's very nicely powered by an 80 plus bronze 300 watt power supply, and it also has room improvement with an extra hard drive slot, an NVMe slot, which was very nice to see on this motherboard, as well as it supports up to 16 gigs of RAM on it. Also, it has enough TDP headroom as well to support the Ryzen 1600. So if you wanted that extra 2 cores, that would be very nice. The case itself is very dull, and one thing I was kind of disappointed with was the HP symbol up here, which has like a green chrome inlay. And it's the same on the NVIDIA Intel ones as well as these AMD ones. And it would have been nice to see like a red to designate that this was an AMD one, or it would have also been nice to have some kind of badging or something saying that there was Ryzen inside, or something about the RX 580. But it's very business whenever it comes to the case. It's also in places very sharp, especially around the HD, the hard drive areas. There's like an inner line thing, and it's almost feels like a knife blade. You've got to be really careful whenever you're digging around in there, putting the screws in and whatnot, if you're adding or taking out a hard drive. You'll probably see from this picture I'm going to take and show y'all at the end, HP doesn't really know what cable management is, or they just really don't care because this is such a cheap product for them. They just kind of threw it in there. And what most of y'all are probably wondering about is the performance of this PC. That's why you're here, and I'm happy to report it is an RX 580, but if you're hoping for some super great bin GPU, you're not going to find it. These are probably the ones that the aftermarket boards makers did not want, and I mean, it works. It gets the standard factory clocks, the 1266 from the core frequency to the 1900 memory frequency, and it does okay. Like I say, it's definitely nice to have the RX 580. It is a VR ready GPU, and I did get to use it a little bit for VR, which was nice. I wouldn't want to rely on it too much for graphic heavy VR, but just running games and things like that, I was able to get a fairly cheap $112 Asus 75 refresh rate 1080p monitor, and that's where your bread and butter of this GPU is going to be, is that 1080p gaming area. You might venture up into the 2K a little bit, but really 1080p is where this GPU shines, and it's really good for the budget full HD people. I would be remiss if I didn't say that this case is pretty much an oven. As most experienced PC builders might have already guessed, there is not a lot of air going through this thing that's not already dirtied. Pretty much all the air that gets blown into the GPU has already been heated by the CPU, so it's already hot whenever it goes in. There's only one case fan in the back. Let's move this around. You can see the power supply fan and the case fan. There's only one blowing in, and it blows right onto the CPU, which is nice. It keeps the CPU nice and cool, but it also dirties the air for the GPU, which arguably needs it more than the CPU. You can tell with that one fan, the RX 580 just gets extremely hot. What I ended up having to do is actually take this side panel off, and that allowed more free air to get into the RX 580 and get it cooled down quite a bit. Even doing that, though, I still had to set a pretty aggressive fan curve in MSI Afterburner to get it to stay down under the temperatures I felt comfortable with, which was under 85. It's a hot card for one fan, and I wish they would have done some way, improved the cooler, or even done maybe some side or upper case fans. There's a little bit of room up here, and it would have been nice to have maybe a case fan with a filter or something up here that would have blown down into that. But you can tell where HP spent the money, and they spent it on the internals, which is nice, and they kind of just stopped at the case. Overall thoughts of it, I think it's actually a pretty good deal if you can get it for that $600 like I did. Getting up to the $700, you start running into computers like the iBuyPowers and the Cybertron PCs. Maybe saying that wrong, but from Best Buy and even on Amazon, I've seen some of the iBuyPowers for around $710-ish, $700. I'll try to find them and put them below. But those had much better Asus dual fan, heat piped graphics cards, 580s, and they would have the stock coolers, and they might even have RGB and arguably much better case airflow. They would have glass-sided case or acrylic-sided cases, and they just look much better. Come with much better keyboards and everything. The keyboard that came with this, I'd throw it in the garbage or use it on maybe a throwaway computer. It comes with one of those 3/4 really small. It even has the 9 keys, so the keys are really small. The mouse was really weird and had this kind of edge to it. If I find them, I've put them somewhere in the month and a half I've had this, and we've been moving stuff around, so I don't know exactly where they are. But if I find them, I'll try to put a picture of them. You can probably find pictures of them online. They're just not that great. Definitely would invest in a monitor and a keyboard mouse set with this computer if you can. Yeah, pre-builts are the hot thing right now. Maybe GPU prices are starting to normalize as of making this video, but that could all change if another kryptonite currency is found that's profitable. But right now the difficulties are kind of making it unprofitable in a lot of areas with high electricity. So hopefully those will start to go down and we can get good GPUs and everything, because I like making my own computers myself. I've been waiting for a year and a half, and I just finally got tired of waiting. So I ended up buying this pre-built because I found it decent. That's pretty much it for this video. If I missed anything or there's something else you want me to talk about or elaborate on, feel free to ask in the comments below. I've been really trying to hit the comments recently. Any credible comment that I get, I've been trying to answer the best of my knowledge, or at least send you to the right place to get said knowledge. I want to thank everybody who's really stuck in there. I know, especially since all the stuff in January, YouTube's kind of not the same for me. But I do still want to do it. I do like talking to people. It is kind of relaxing to me in some ways. I do want to do more. It's just now there's really no money to do it with. So I do hope to put more into it. This computer was supposed to be part of that and help me do better edits and everything like that, but I thought I was going to be able to pay for it with the money I made from YouTube, but it came out of pocket instead. But thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, well, you know what to do. Hopefully the audio and the video is much better, as I have my stolen camera returned to me now, thankfully. Thank you all again. So nice that y'all have come by, and I hope I've been able to help you in some way. And I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.